Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are, game number 2 between Acer's Nerchio and Rock's Kiss FRAER. FRAER winning last game with a Forge Fast expand into 7-gate level 1 weapon upgrade push. And as we saw on Tal'Darim Altar, that can be very effective against a Zerg player who goes for a quick third. That third, very hard to defend with a few sentries in the mix from a Protoss player 7-gate level 1 upgrade push because of the force fields. Those damn force fields in any narrow areas, force fields are incredibly effective. So you take a look at this map in general, there is certainly force fieldable areas, but not nearly as close as what we saw in the third of last game. And so it's just something to keep in mind. Anytime you're up against a Protoss player and you're worried about force fields, just try to be wary of these areas and try to keep an eye on the fact that if they decide to push on any expansions that have any choke points like that, you could have a problem. Force fields are very always likely to take place in these choke points. But again, this map not nearly as problematic as the area around that third that we saw last map, which had a very, very small path from the edge of your hatchery to the corner of the wall there. There's just, all you needed was 2 force fields. It's absurd. Clearly absurd. Alright, so FRAER this game will be going again with a Forge Fast expand. A little bit different this time though, as he's formulating his wall towards the Nexus. The Nexus sits here and then he has to worry about covering the top half of that as well. We will be seeing pool first this game again here from Nerchio against a Protoss player. You worry about going expansion first. You worry about cannon harass. You worry about pylon and probe harass, even preventing you from getting that expansion down. You also worry about this garbage, losing a drone to early game probe shenanigans. Oh, so frustrating. You got to make sure you kind of shoo that off with one of your workers. Realizing that the drone might be dropping a hatch, we see FRAER stop with his probe harass at the main resource line and move down to try to delay this hatch. He's doing a decent job. He's taking a lot of damage to the worker, very close to losing it. Pylon does go down, and now Nerchio has no choice but to engage it. His other option is to try to drop the hatch over here. And actually, FRAER will be moving on up into this position, preparing for secondary scouting, also trying to delay the possibility of the attempted first expansion down over here in the third position, because that is an option. Sometimes when the Zerg player sees this, instead of massing up these lings early on, they'll continue to drone, only get their 2 to 4 lings, and then drop the expansion over here. But again, FRAER would have been prepared for that. So the pylon quickly gets taken out, hatchery now dropped, lings moving out across the map. Very smart, pulls off 1 ling to check over here, and he's going to be able to do a bit of damage to the probe. Probe has to juke, there you go. Probe jukes. Oh, yes, yes, he sneaks the drone by without FRAER seeing, so FRAER does not know that this drone went in there very quickly to drop that third. Still worried, though. I mean, just think about it. If we saw a push here, if he could sneak his way up here and drop force fields here, FRAER could take out this expansion quite easily. It's just always something to keep in mind. And Nerchio will want to watch these back rocks as well, just to make sure that a push doesn't move from FRAER and hit that direction. Now the lings pulling over here, I don't think they've really done much damage. Oh, no, oh, lings, oh, ooh. Ugh. Lost 2 lings there as he tried to take down the probe. I guess it was worth it, 2 lings for a probe. I suppose that is a fair trade-off. Even more, I mean, resource-wise, it's dead even, but the fact that you have 1 less probe mining from your opponent, that's a good thing. Just hurts to see a photon cannon with 2 kills this early in the game. That's all I'm saying. We got 1 Overlord scouting for the possible third over here. He's just watching the minerals, seeing if any workers come up and gather from that. That's all he really needs to spot. Maintain map control, going to be crucial here as he wants to try to stop this secondary scout. Don't think he's going to be able to, though, because it is a Zealot. FRAER pushing out with the Zealot pretty much forces the guaranteed scout, because there's really nothing, unless Nerchio got like 8 lings or so right now, he wouldn't be able to stop this. So pylon on the edge, preparing for possible future engagements, as he can warp in down there on the low ground. But this Zealot is a guaranteed scout right now. Again, we would have to see a lot of Zerglings here from Nerchio to prevent this from happening in the middle of the field. Now he's still obviously going to try to kill it, quite clearly, but pulling forward with the workers. Oh, I was going to say, nice micro. He almost got that drone away, ends up losing it though, as the Zealot does manage to get that last shot. Zealot already with 1 kill, trying to push in for the additional kills. Lings pulling forward, trying to assist. Micro back those lings, micro him back, there you go. Nice work, man. I'm impressed, Nerchio. Some strong micro in the early game. Oh, yeah, gets the Zealot. Only loses 1 ling there. 1 ling and a worker. Not too bad. I would say that's also a fair trade-off. Actually, that's probably a trade-off in Nerchio's benefit. Anyways, who cares about that stuff? I don't know why I continue to talk about how fair these trade-offs are. Stalker moving across the map right now. Again, unless we see a larger group of Lings, then he's not going to be able to stop the Stalker from just kind of dancing around. He's just going to have to let it take the tower at this point in the game. You got Ling checking over here. Probe over there now. Let's take a look at what's going on. We got 3 gateways, but that's it. 3 gates. This is going to be number 4. Level 1 weapons are coming out. I don't know that we'll see a 4-gate push, though. Maybe just for some light aggression. Lings pull forward, try to get us around, but a second Stalker is going to force these back. Try to hide behind that smoke screen quickly. Yeah, nice. And then pulls away. Back to safety. Roach Warren is coming out, as well as a layer. Metabolic boost also now just starting. Stalkers continue to push forward. We've got 6 more Lings coming out. That should be enough to defend against these 2 Stalkers. But Pylon, we will be seeing some aggression out of these simply 4 gateways here. And he's got the level 1 weapons upgrades. A much smaller push because he is going for tech. We can see that Twilight Council coming out. So instead of going for those extra gateways and a harder push, he wants to go for some techie options here. Zealots will force these Lings back. 4 Roaches coming out. Metabolic boost is being researched. Another early game push here from FRAER could be pretty devastating. This is scary. Lots of Zealots. Oh, so many Zealots, plus the Stalkers for support. Gonna force all the workers off the line, and right away, Nerchio just forfeits this expansion. He hits supply block. Might hit it again if he loses this Overlord. He's pulling back now, massing up his forces. He's already gonna be taking a lot of damage. We got a cannon on the high ground. Ah, that's gonna hurt him as well when he tries to pull up to engage these forces here. Even with no sentries here, spending all of his gas on the Stalkers. Nerchio, not happy whatsoever, leaves the game with some choice words. And game number 2 going to FRAER. For the second game in a row, we see FRAER push out with a Forge Fast Expand and early game aggression. This time it was a 4 Warp Gate level 1 weapon. He also went up into Twilight Council and eventually started getting a Robotics as well. However, he did not need that Robotics, as just this push alone was enough to knock Nerchio out of the game and cause him to rage just a tiny little bit. And I can understand his frustration. This very early aggression seems a bit too potent, wouldn't you say? Alright, so game number 2, going to FRAER. This is a series again. Now we will be moving on to game 3 in just a moment. As always, guys, if you like the content, I ask that you please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out tremendously. Game 3 coming in just one moment. Thanks again for watching, guys. Keep watching and keep owning. Try this build. Oh, Nerchio.